Hey everyone, and welcome back to our podcast and the series called High School Memories. My name is Jashari, and I will be your host today. So, without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode and embark on a great journey together. Get ready to be engaged, entertained, and inspired. Today's topic will be about the one and only the masterpiece of Ichiro himself, the One Piece. So, for the people who don't know what the One Piece is, it's the second most sold comic book in the entire world, beating out famous comics such as the Spider-Man and the Batman, and it's well on its way to overtake Superman with over 500 million official copies sold. Now, a little backstory on how the One Piece came to be. It's 1997 and the 17-year-old author Eiichiro Oda, or as is currently known by his fans as Oda-sensei, started writing the story of One Piece after the release of its former lesser-known counterparts known as Romance Dawn and The Most Wanted. Now, the release of One Piece was truly something massive, as no other manga could stop the massive decline of sales that the Weekly Shonen Jump had after the end of the previously most loved manga, Dragon Ball, finished airing. Now, with a huge amount of manga sales, the large number of anime views that it gets on both official and unofficial websites, and an average rating of 9.9 on IMDb, and its recently released live-action version on Netflix, which was number one favorite on 86 different countries, beating out shows like Wednesday and The Stranger Things, One Piece has had a huge impact on both Japanese culture and on the Western world. Now, I can keep on going about the effects that the One Piece has had on our world, but I would like to continue with the story and what the One Piece is actually about. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to give a spoiler warning, since after this is finished, most of the listeners are going to want to start in what is, my opinion, the greatest piece of fiction ever created. Now, the story follows Monkey D. Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates on their journey to accomplish their goals. And I know that does sound childish, but the way it's portrayed in the story makes even the coldest hearts melt, with its complicated characters, marvelous world building, and its beautiful writing. Now, the main story starts 22 years after the execution of the King of the Pirates, Gold Roger. And why that's important is because during his execution, Roger told the world about his great treasure, known as the One Piece, and that he left it all in one place. After his speech, many people took to the seas became pirates in hopes of finding the treasure, and as it was said that the one who has the One Piece has everything he could ever possibly desire. We, as an audience, first get introduced to our protagonist, to a 17-year-old Monkey D. Luffy, as he's stuck on a wooden barrel. And now, he is stuck on that barrel because his little boat that he set sail on got sunken into the sea. But now, luckily, he was found by the Alvida pirates, and the only true characters with a true importance on the pilot episode are Luffy, Alvida, and a young cabin boy known as Kobe. Now, Luffy was let out of the barrel by Kobe, and Kobe tells Luffy his dream about becoming a marine. So, there was a fight between Luffy because he was in an enemy ship, and there was a fight between him and the Alvida pirates. But Luffy takes care of them and takes Kobe to hunt down the famous pirate hunter known as Roronoa Zoro. And now, during the fight with the Alvida powers, we get introduced to the first power system in the verse of One Piece, which is the Devil Fruits. Now, a quick explanation about the Devil Fruits. They are mythical and rare fruits who give you special abilities but in exchange, you lose your ability to swim. And our protagonist has eaten the Gum Gum fruit, which has turned his body into rubber. Now, Luffy and Kobe go and find Roronoa Zoro, and they recruit him to his crew after he defeats the corrupt marine captain known as X-Hen Morgan. Now, Kobe stays behind and becomes a marine, and Straw Hat Luffy and his new swordsmen take to the seas, and the seas takes them to Orange Town. But wait, you truly might be wondering, why did I call Luffy Straw Hat Luffy? And that's because we got a flashback of his childhood. Now, Luffy was 7-year-old when he met the infamous pirate captain Red-Haired Shanks and his crew. During one of the meetings in a bar named Party's Bar, Luffy ate a strange fruit which happened to be his Gum Gum fruit. After that altercation, they get disturbed by a group of mountain bandits which Shanks let go without a fight, but the hyperactive child known as Luffy goes to find and fight the bandits and gets thrown into the sea in the process. Now, since Luffy just ate the devil fruit, he doesn't know that he lost his ability to swim, so Shanks jumps in the ocean to save him, and in the process he lost his arm. to a sea king known as the King of the Coast, which is like a very big angry fish. Yes, it's a very big angry fish. After saving Luffy, Shanks gives him a straw that he wears, and Luffy promises that he would give it back once he becomes a great pirate. Now, in Orange Sound, Luffy and Zoro understand that they have no chance of becoming big-name pirates when they can't find their way on their own, so into the seas. So, because neither of them knew how to navigate. So enter Nami, an orange-haired girl who is a thief, but also one of the best navigators on the East Blue and beyond. Even though she's a thief, Luffy decides to team up with Nami after he defeats the pirate known as Buggy the Clown. With a navigator, they go to the remote islands where they meet Usopp, which is the son of Yasopp, which is the sniper of the Red Hair Pirates, aka Shanks' crew. They also meet Kaya, a sick young girl who gives them a ship after they do her a favor on her island. And now the crew has gained a sniper in Usopp and the ship going merry. Now, after they leave the remote islands, they go to a sea restaurant known as Baratier. In there, they meet a chef known as Sanji. Sanji is a great fighter and a great character overall, and he refuses to let people go hungry even though they can't pay. Now, as Sanji refuses to use his hands in a fight because his hands are only for cooking. Now, while at Baratier, we meet Jin, a member of the Creek Pirates, and we learn that their fleet was destroyed by the Warlord of the Sea, Hawkeye Mihawk, and he's coming to finish the job. But the surprise comes from Zoro, as he challenges Mihawk to a duel, as it is his dream and goal to become the world's strongest swordsman, and Mihawk currently is the world's strongest swordsman. And now Zoro, to no one's surprise, was heavily outclassed and got 2 of his 3 swords destroyed, and he got a massive slash on his chest because he refused to get scars on his back. Now, after the fight, a promise was made by Zoro that he will never lose again, but his condition is very terrible as he's almost dying by the slash that he gained from Mihawk. Now, a real shock happens when they try to leave Baratier, but their ship is missing, along with the orange-haired navigator. Now, the crew found out where she went, and they recruited Sanji as they went to leave. And when they recruited Sanji, they had an emotional scene between him and owner Zeph. Now, owner Zeph is the owner of the Baratier, which is the sea restaurant, of course, and now they had that emotional scene and they left. The crew of 4 set sail to Coco Islands to find their navigator, and they did succeed on finding her. And now we get one of the saddest backstories to date, and now I won't say what happens, because that would be too much of a spoil on this arc. But I know that 90% of fans of One Piece at least put One Piece on their top 5 after this arc. Sorry about earlier. Now, what I'm going to tell you is the result of the arc. Nami joins the crew with a newfound respect for her captain, and Luffy gets his first bounty of 30 million. Now, there isn't much time to be wasted, so they go to the Grand Line. The Grand Line is an ocean route which wraps around the entire world, which is separated by the seas known as the Calm Belts. And it's separated into two parts by the Red Line, which is the only continent in the One Piece world, and which is a 10-kilometer high mountain that wraps around the world. And the Grand Line and Red Line split the planet into a cross, which is the entrance to the Grand Line. Now, for the Calm Belts, there are strips of the ocean where nothing moves. No wind, no waves, nothing to help you move. But that's not the bad part. The bad part is the Sea Kings, which are hundreds of times larger than the normal ones. With the core members of the crew who assembled, they had to Reverse Mountain, which is the entrance to the first part of the Grand Line known as the Paradise. Before entering the Grand Line, they do a pit stop to Loketown, which is an island near the Reverse Mountain, which is the entrance, and they get supplies for their journey. An interesting thing about Loketown is that in Loketown, sorry I get too distracted right now. The interesting thing about Loketown is that it's both the birth and the execution place of Gold Roger. So with Zoro's swords replaced, the cabin stocked with food, and the compass pointing north, they set sail and they enter the Grand Line while declaring their dreams. Now Luffy stomps on a barrel and declares that he will become the king of the pirates. After him is Zoro, and him saying that he will become the world's strongest swordsman. Then it's Nami with her dream of drawing a map of the world. Sanji to find the All Blue, which is a sea that there is fish from all four of the oceans. Now, lastly goes Usopp, and his dream is to become a brave warrior of the sea, just like his dad. And what's crazy is that I haven't gone through 10% of the story yet, but I think I should finish the first episode of the One Piece Odyssey here on Language Shapes Perception. So thank you so much for joining us on the first episode of High School Memories. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm glad you came along for the ride. Until next time, take care.